Hello, Brother Monroe here. Welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts and to the Greek campaign, where we have had a little run of peace, which is really, really useful because we really haven't had that. The economy has grown to 63.5 billion, which, yeah, we are catching up to China and Austria, kind of the next ones on the list, and the US actually as well, and we're past everybody else. My plan to start off with is to build some new cruisers. I've just unlocked the scout cruiser. This will probably potentially not replace the Sectoris. Maybe the Sectoris is, because we only have, how many do we have between the two of them? We only have 5 of them in service anyway. They might be a replacement. They might be just an addition. Because again, I have no armoured cruisers, so our light cruisers probably are going to be filling in for both roles. Let's have a look at these hulls that I've unlocked. I am aware I have other things. But yeah, we got the experimental light cruiser and the scout cruiser. These are basically the same hull, aren't they? Yeah, pretty much. Let's go with the slightly larger one, given that our last cruiser, which wasn't designed that long ago, was the Nikis at 6,500 tons. Now, if I'm making these big, well, let's cut the beam, because we know this is going to be a fast ship, faster than the Nikis. We could probably do 33 knots, no problem. There we go. Towers. Oh, this one has the low profile tower. Always an interesting option. And then a secondary tower is basically not a huge amount of choice. Ah. No reduced beam. Interesting. Still doesn't fit. This one does. I'll fiddle around with that later. No funnel slots on here either. Interesting. Guns, I think it makes sense to stick with the 7-inch. Right, now we need to adjust where everything goes. This is all very awkward up the front, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not feeling this one. Let's have a look at that scout cruiser instead. Do I get better tower choices? Go for an 8,000 ton ship. Yeah, I get much more sensible towers on this one. Right. Although, even then, it is actually quite hard to... It's going to be hard to get the guns in the right place. I mean, that one's fine. Hey. But this is a little bit tight. a little bit tight. I so much prefer a flush stick ship. I can put it down here. The tower. It looks very odd doing that. Yeah, that just about works. Sure, I can't persuade you to go closer to that break. No, you're very insistent. Because then the problem becomes fitting in a bloody funnel. Let's use the... absolutely none of the towers will fit. What I would have to do is have all of them mounted on, well, 2 guns mounted like so. We should fit 2 funnels in, but that ain't happening. Yeah, we could do something like this. Now, someone said that the torpedoes extend the armor, but it doesn't appear to. So yeah, we could have a torpedoes aft. I know it's not ideal, but we could have torpedoes aft. Okay, we're starting to get something here. Secondary guns. Mark 4s. Ooh, fun. Yeah, there's no firing up for it there, but could definitely fit some... kind of here as, well, essentially AA. This would be. Will also be useful against transports as well. I think that will, yeah, the torpedoes can't fire directly aft, but they really shouldn't be able to anyway, because if you did try and fire the torpedo directly aft, it would just hit the deck in real life. Not the game models, that. Okay, I'm going to have to stick with the default length for the 7 inches, otherwise this one is not going to fit. But we can lengthen the 2-inch guns. Okay. Now, the question becomes, what kind of shells to put on the 7 inches? Yeah, high cap. For sure. Oh, sorry, cap ballistic, I should have said. Because that should have just enough to go through most... Well, it won't go through all destroyers by any means, but a lot of destroyers will be vulnerable to it. 22-inch torpedoes. Oh, RDF. Fancy. And now, of course, we need armour. Now, if I want to protect myself against a 5-inch gun, yeah, we're talking about 2-inch there. Deck armor, really don't need a lot of that, if at all any. In a main belt, yes. I've got to wait 2. Turrets, probably 6 inches, fine. Something along these lines. 6%. Well, fortunately, I have plenty I can cut back on. Namely, range. Although I do like them having lots of range. So we could cut that back a touch. I don't want to go below standard range or 20,000. Yeah, so we'll leave it there. Although that would solve my problem. Maybe I do. That is still pretty good, to be fair. 19, just under 20,000 kilometers of range. Do you know what? Screw it. We're going to do that. The Hydra. Hail Hydra? Question mark. Yeah, that's for the 1920s. This is monstrous. Being a Washington Naval Treaty compliant quote. Well, actually, it's not because I'm using 7-inch guns. If I was using 6-inch guns, it would be treaty compliant. So we are breaking the rules, but we are under the displacement limit. I guess this would count as a heavy cruiser then. It's still a treaty heavy cruiser. Under those conditions, it's maybe not amazing, but it's still okay, I would say. Sporting, 10 7-inch guns. We've got 2-inch for, I don't know, shooting up a transport or something. And we've got 6 torpedoes. Yes. Yes, very nice. Very clearly superior to the existing Sectoris in pretty much every way. They're also somehow cheaper than a Nicky. I think replacing the Nickies is not something I should be doing, but these are like space magic ships. These have turned out extraordinarily well. So I am going to make an initial order of... Can I build? No. I'm sub 20. I'm going to have to start by building only 2. However, these are definitely going to start replacing the Sectoris class ships slowly over time. Yes. But I'm going to have to build them in pairs until I have a little bit more construction space. All right, well, I'll get on with that, and I'll see you when there's something to talk about. Right, welcome back. We are having budgetary issues, I feel. Building 2 capital ships is too much of a stretch on our finances, and I have multiple the older Sectoris. They don't seem to be being bought, which is annoying, but maybe they'll change their minds. I think it's because they're refits. I don't think the AI will buy a refit, which is kind of stupid. There's something to look into. Anyway, once the Hydras are ready, they will just flat out replace these ships. They've served us very well. Speaking of ships that have served us very well, we have the Doxa line. So that is Doxa, Georgios, Velos, and Atos. Plus Kanaris, of course. We still don't have any armoured cruisers. So I actually think once I get the 12-inch Mark III, I'm going to put a priority on that. So in 6 months, we will have access to that. I think we do a refit because we're about to get the experimental heavy cruiser, but I don't have a truly compelling gun for that yet. I mean, we do have Mark III everything's. I'll need to have a look. I don't know why we get 2 experimental heavy cruisers. Yeah, because basically I need to compare whatever I'm building as a heavy cruiser to a refitted and upgraded Doxa line. But because these have not been refitted, Kanaris has, but the others have not, potentially I might be able to sell them. So what I'm going to do, controversial, I'm going to put this priority on for 6 months. I'm going to mothball the Doxa line. And that is going to make them available for purchase. If they are not purchased within 6 months, I will reactivate them and refit them. And I will refit Kanaris as well. And these can serve as our armoured cruisers until we have heavy cruisers ready. And I will do the heavy cruiser design after I've done all of the refits for this. So that we can compare costs and effectiveness. At least that's my plan. Politics-wise, how are we doing? Greek economy has still chugging along. Not growing quite as fast as I would like. And I think we've reached the limit of what we can actually maintain. Because if you look at our fleet budget, fleet maintenance, well, fleet construction is currently actually one of our bigger expenses. But yeah, we're spending a fair amount on maintenance, and that's going to go up with newer ships. So yeah, going to have to balance things quite carefully, I think. All right, welcome back. I actually waited a little bit longer so that I could get turbo electric drive, just so we have the option of that. I very rarely use it, but I thought that might be a good one to pick up. Also about to get yet another light cruiser design. But those scout cruisers are so good. Thermopylae, the second Aspis is commissioning up. We are still constructing something. Here we go. So I now have the second group of those Hydra class cruisers, and we have the Samos, which is currently under about 6 months away from being finished. Yeah. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to refit our old 12-inch ships. And I know this is probably the more expensive way of doing it, but A, it's content. I'm not fully aware it's content. But B, it will actually give us something to compare our new heavy cruisers to. So if we upgrade Kanaris, so obviously she could now use oil. Aux diesel. Now, so our options are either geared turbines, 83%, turbo electric, 83%. Turbo electric is a bit more expensive and a little bit heavier. So yeah, geared turbines are superior, especially if we want to push. Bearing in mind that Kanaris was built at her speed design limit, so the others might benefit from having turbo electric. That would be a significant upgrade for Kanaris. Now, with 6% weight remaining, well, first of all, we should definitely lengthen those 6-inch guns to be as long as possible. Second, I think we should swap it to triples, as really, you know, she suffers compared to her later sisters because she only has 4 guns. Well, now she has 6 12-inch guns. 97%. Can we shove anything else on her? Can we actually push her range? Oh, we can. Range. Speed. The other advantage of going with turbines to start with. So we could push her all the way up to 23 knots. Which I actually makes her surprisingly usable. Especially as like a port defense ship. Okay, I love that. Save. Approved. Okay, you're taking a while, aren't you? Thank you. Okay. Now let's have a look at Doxa. Because I have a feeling what I'm going to run into is that those new turrets are going to be too big. And they fit on the front, but they're not fitting on the back. Yeah, which means I would need a total rebuild of Doxa, which is possible. We have triples now. So like I could take this off entirely. Could fit her with triples. Means I could change the secondary tower as well. To a larger one. Would we then swap these to 6 inches? Because the 8s have not been super effective, and these casemates have not been. Oops, these casemates have not been effective either. So we can take all that off, and instead mount 6-inch guns. Now the problem is, I actually know them. But I know the 6-inch Mark IV isn't that far off, but I'm not delaying this process just to do that. And then we're going to have 9 6-inch guns aside instead of the 2 8s and the 3 6s. I think that makes a lot more sense. These would obviously need armouring, like so. Oil, induced. Turbo is 78. Geared turbine is also 78, so we'll go with that. Because that'll allow me to push speed in a moment. Okay, very nice. And then we can push speed 25 knots, 26 knots, 27, 28, 29. Oh, it's 28 knots. How about, yeah, 28 knots. Keep the range low. Yes. Okay. 28 knots is actually fine. That's pretty good, I would say. 28 knot cruiser with 9 12-inch guns, FU Deutschland class, which was also 28 knots. Okay, admittedly it was not this big, but yeah, okay. That would be a hilarious counter to a Deutschland class. It's like, yes, we have built a ship with 6 11-inch guns that can do 28 knots, and it's a heavy cruiser. Cool. We'll just reactivate one of our old battleships. Let's have a look at the Georgios. Should probably have a similar refit. Let's have a look. Front guns work. Rear guns work, so I don't need to change any of that. We could leave the 8s on this ship, potentially. We'll remove these, as they have not been functioning. Yeah, let's leave the 8s on. Let's have even more variety. One thing we will fix, the conning tower armour. Already using turbines. I think it makes sense just to upgrade it to the geared ones. Boom, 28 knots. I'd actually like a bit more range on her. There we go. Cool. Well, that's actually a lot less work than Doxa was. That's good. Oh, I might lengthen the... or adjust the 8s. Just a touch? Why are you not updating the length? Yeah, there we go. Let's go with 55s. Something like that. Actually, no, I probably want shorter barrels on these, don't I? If anything. Let's go for 50. What? There's no way that's a 53. What are you up to, game? Maybe I replace them with triples. Do I have the weight for that? Oh, now they're 50s. Okay, just plop and replace them. I think it's because I'd upgraded them in place, so I was a little confused. But yeah, that... interesting. I love how the ships are getting similar but also different. It really is a family, not a class. Right, and then we have Velos. And Atos. Oil, geared turbines, box diesel. Oopsie daisy. Stick, TNT3, the Cordoid 2, Constance 4, RDF. upgrade the guns. They all fit. That's lovely. We can replace these with 666s. Lovely stuff. Can we get her up to 28 knots? Easily. Oh, 30 knots. Gonna have to force the boiler because of her tiny funnel. 32 knots. No, pushing it. Let's go for 30. Yes! Perhaps not. Many bulkheads? Let's go with that. Sure. Okay. Again, very different, all of these ships. And then the last one is Ethos. Right? Dockyard is bugging out. Let's quickly head back. So, Kanaris, refit, go. None of you are small enough to do... again, this is going to have to be staggered anyway. But let's try doing Atos again. Already has triples. Does B-turret doesn't work for some reason. Yeah, this is going to be one that I can't refit because of the guns. God damn it. I mean, I could try and change the barbette, but I was already squishing it in. So this one isn't going to get a refit. Which means I think Atos is going to stay... weirdly, the newest ship of the group is going to stay unupgraded. Now, my other problem is, yeah, I'm limited on the old shipyard capacity currently because we're still constructing the Samos. And now, of course, we're refitting Kanaris. But refits are quicker than building ships flat. So that is also a plus. Okay, well, I have to juggle it, but yeah, I think Atos then is going to get sold off. Right, I can delete this design and this one, as we no longer have any ships in these classes. I also need more destroyers. Or newer destroyers, I should say. As the older ones are getting a little bit old. Did I just say the newer ones get... I'm tired, man. I'm really tired. Right, I did say I wanted to have a look at the design of these cruisers. But, yeah, I'm not getting any new guns anytime soon. So let's actually do that. Again, they're going to be designed before I'm actually able to put any under construction. Which is weird, but maybe I could get one under construction. I do want to have a look at the heavy cruisers. Okay, it's just a double entry. We just have the one. Experimental heavy cruiser. Which is basically our light cruiser hull. But in theory, armoured. Right. This needs to go on a diet, a serious diet, straight away. It's just a fat hull out the gate. 30 knots would be fantastic. Let's go for 12,000 tons. Something along those lines. That ain't fitting. That ain't fitting. This one does. That one ain't fit. That one does. Stick funnel on. All this will get moved around later. Main guns. So, with no advantage in Marc, accuracy, there's a bit of a trail off with the 11s by the looks of it. Not at long range, but at shorter range. So if I'm looking at like the 5,000 meter, oh no, it is. It's just very short range. Okay. So let's look at 10,000 meters. 2.8, 2.4, 2.1, 2.1, 1.6. So potentially 8s, but they don't offer much more over our light cruiser that we just built, the Hydras. So it'd be between the 9s and the 10s for me. And the 10s just have a little bit more to them. Ideally twins, because they're more accurate still. But that said, triples are kind of getting there. And we might have to use triples, depending on how the fit goes. But I think this hull has the space. Incredibly low bridge on this thing. Well, they can see out of the top bit. Yeah, because I would have used this one, but yeah, it's too wide. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's quite a robust ship. I don't know what to do with that gap. Come back to that. Once I've thrown all the gubbins on it. So come back. I need to look at the HE. That's more than enough. What about a soft cap? No, I think I'll stick with the cap ballistic. We would then need armor. So again, looking at a 5-incher, probably want to be armored to 2 inches. Just on that basis, which will also protect us against our own HE. Maybe 1.5 and what? 0.3 on the deck should be more than enough. Tower armor of yes. Belt armor, ideally 10. I'll have 10. That is the maximum. How about 12 on the turrets? 2 on the top. Fairly chunky. This. That exists. 96%. Okay. 96%. What do I do with this middle section? What happens if I shorten the ship? How does it shorten? Awkwardly is the answer to that. But yeah, if I went for a 10,000 ton ship instead, I'd be way underweight. Oops. At 11, let's be really annoying if I have to go all the way back to where I was, but that's just what happens sometimes. I can get the 5 in. Might as well. Funnel needs to go in here. And then this can be pulled back. This can be pulled back. And this can be placed where it needs to go, which is here. Yeah, I really wish I could fit the... because that tower would just about fit in. That would be a better fit. Oh, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. It does fit on. That is a more appropriate tower for this ship. It's just because the ship is lengthening in a weird way. I don't know how else to put it. But I don't think it works, annoyingly. Yeah, I can't squeeze that gun in. Just doesn't fit. It's really irritating because yeah, if I lengthen the ship, okay. See, now I can't fit this funnel in here. I don't think. Maybe I can. Or maybe you can use a different one. It'll fit down there. Can I use that one? Yeah, I can use that one. There we go. This is how we do it. That means it's going to be 12,500. It's a little bit bigger than I was originally intending, but that's fine because this now needs to go here. This goes here. Means I can potentially use the even bigger. I can use the big tower. Well, could if it fitted. But I can use this one. Does that have a funnel slot? Oh, it does have a funnel slot. Ah. For the stupidly huge funnel. And again, I'm left with this problem of a gap. What to do with a gap? Again, I wish I could just... It's like... Why do you shorten like that? It is so incredibly irritating the way it shortens. It's like you're shortening the wrong bit. I want to shorten this bit, not this bit. But that is apparently not an option. I'm also overweight. Can I narrow the beam? No, I cannot. That ain't happening. Casemate guns? Really? like AA. Let's just what to do with this space back here. Another funnel looks kind of weird. And completely unnecessary. But I could just do that. Rather than using this space up here. It does fill the ship out a bit. I think it is very slightly lighter. Right? Yeah, very slightly lighter. Feels a little bit better, although this very clearly should have a funnel on it. Now then. How do I get the weight down? That can come down. What are we spending all the weight on? Fuel. I don't want to reduce range though. Actually, rather reduce the bulkheads to many. Some guns have a poor sector of fire. Really? I don't believe you, game. Yes, we're going to go with this. The Launchy. And then I'm going to get confused. Prices, 220. She is cheaper than any of our refitted ships. So I think it makes sense not to do this. I hate to say that. I know that's less firepower. But she's faster than the Velos. Well, she's as fast as a Velos. They're smaller. The maintenance is less. And they're actually built for the job. Yeah. Sadly, I think our Doxa line is going to be phased out. Kanaris can hold down the fort. She's cheaper than these. But yeah, I think we're going to have a new type of ship. The heavy cruiser is born, obsoleting the use for our old dreadnoughts. Well, not on its own, because our new super dreadnoughts have done that, taking on the battleship role. But this will take on the cruiser role. Right, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Bye for now.